Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right. Well, then we're starting in five, four, three, two, one. Welcome to the RPG After Years, your weekly show covering all things RPGs, past, present, and future. I'm Scott.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Jay.
This is episode 5. I know that last week we said we were going to be covering the Witcher Netflix series, but I guess Square Enix had some other plans in mind for us when they dropped the Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo yesterday morning. So we decided to cover that instead while it's the talk of the town. But before that, let's catch up, fellas. Jay, what have you been up to?
Well, Scott, not much, to be completely honest. I have put a decent amount of time into Tales of Berseria and Tales of the Abyss. I'm right at that 15-hour mark for Berseria. It's still good. However, I'm kind of fearing if I'm about to hit a lull of like really, really
Uh-oh.
just like kind of a drag to get through. But yeah, outside of that, Tales of the Abyss, it's still quite good. I did end up hitting a pretty difficult boss in Tales of the Abyss and had to spend about an hour and a half grinding, and ended up probably leveling up a little too high, because then the boss fight was really, really easy, and so were the subsequent ones after that. But I think I'm about through a pretty good chunk of that, if to not give any spoilers away. Outside of that, I did play the first 3 Jackbox party games Saturday night with some friends, and then played
I thought I was your only
most.
friend.
No, you and Rich.
Oh, okay. Both of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also played the Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo. I did not play through all of it. I just wasn't able to fit it into my schedule. But last night I did play a good chunk of it, enough to get a feel of the game at least.
At least
So I'm
you'll have
looking
like
forward to.
somewhat of an idea of what we're talking about when we
Yeah,
get there.
I have some thoughts on what the actual game is going to be like. So looking forward to that. But enough about me. What about you, Scott?
So I also played the FF7 Remake Demo. I was actually going to try to resist it just so I could experience the game fresh as it was and all that. But you
Through
guys,
Virgin's eyes.
yeah, you guys sort of twisted my arm and you had to try
We
real
didn't
hard
twist that hard.
I know, really. That was simple. Just like, hey, you want to do this? All right.
Well, I think if it wasn't for the show, I would have at least made it a little longer before I caved. So I'll give my thoughts on that later. I once again went to Asheville. This is not something I do very often, guys, but I did have one of my best friends move there just recently. So we went there, got to go to like a noodle bar and then like a metal bar, which was odd for me, as I think you guys know I'm not a big metalhead.
Sounds awesome, though.
Yeah.
It was cool in there, and there was only a couple songs that played the whole time I was there that I would consider to be like heavy metal. The rest were just like sort of hard rockish but it had like this cool aesthetic. Like everything in the bar was made out of metal. So,
That was
uh,
really cool.
yeah. So while we were there, my buddy's girlfriend, she just got a Switch and she didn't know like what kind of games to get. So I brought all our games, and so we test drove like Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild. Just played like the beginnings of those games with her, and I think she's going to get Odyssey, and she doesn't think she's good enough at video games yet for Breath of the Wild, which is maybe true. uh, we also played Jackbox 5 while we were over there. So Jackbox Crew this week.
Game of the year. Game
Yeah.
of the game. It's a
We should do like
game
a
of the decade, right?
maybe
Yeah.
we should do like a series of the decade poll, and that way we can call it like series of the decade too. Corey and I played a few stages of Yoshi's Crafted World. We haven't played that in a long time, but we were trying to like sort of eliminate some of the games that we started and never finished from the past. And then he did get past that one level that I mentioned last week in the Fire Emblem Three Houses DLC. It took him like an hour to get through, and then he lost at the very end. So he did that. I've also still been playing some Final Fantasy One to try and finish up all that Mages Gone Wild shit. I'm like halfway through the third of 5 optional dungeons. I thought I was on the last one, but apparently my memory was not correct. Played some more Astral Chain. That's still been awesome. Just, more epicness. I think we're in the last chapter, or maybe the one before that now. So we're going to be finishing that up pretty soon. And then I've been still doing Ring Fit Adventure for, the cardio workouts. And I saved this one for last because I actually beat this game, or Corey and I did, since last time we talked. We finished Captain Toad, Treasure Trackers. So I guess we will have to record a Patreon review on that at some point.
It's like the only sad thing about it is like, oh, I guess we got to record a review.
Yeah, it's like, you just stop at the last stage of every game just to save that time. But yeah, so that's a good thing. Overall, I liked it, and just knocking things off the backlog. So that's about it for me. What about you, Rich?
All right. So I have not been playing a lot of games. Like my better half over there, Scott, as I point to you through the screen. I have decided to scale back on the Golden Year games only because I've had a lot of stuff come up. It's just getting a little bit too much for me to try to play some of these games, and I hate a lot of them. Alondra was just not for me. I can't stand the Zelda type game.
Or like 2D Zeldas, or just Zeldas in general?
2D, whatever the hell that was, the 2D
Okay.
Zelda. So I don't know. I just couldn't do it. There's too many puzzles and things like that. And I just can't do that in my brain.
Not smart enough?
No, not me, not so good.
Don't you have a computer science degree?
I do.
Take it from
I'm
me.
using
That
it very
doesn't
well,
mean
guys. Nope, doesn't mean jack. I paid for it.
So what you're saying, though, is you've kind of worked it out with Bill that you're not going to be continuing with the Golden Years games.
Well, as heavily. So there's like games I'll play that I know I'm going to like, or I've seen that I think I'll enjoy. Or, some that I'll probably critique. Like right now, I've started Grandia 2.
Yay. The one thing I wish you hadn't started yet.
Sorry.
So I can catch up.
I'm 4 hours in.
Yeah. It's not a long game either, so.
Nope. Tomorrow, I'll put a good 6 hours because I have a work trip that takes about 3 hours, so I'm not driving. So I'm going to do that.
Give up on doing that with you guys at that rate.
Don't. Well, here's what happens. I'll do that and I'll just stop. Something else will catch my eye. Like, what else is? I got to play some Tales of Berseria, so I got to get that rocking and rolling here more. I can't play that on the Switch. I wish I could.
That would be cool.
So really would. I wish they would bring a lot of the Tales games over to the Switch and stuff, but who knows?
That would be sweet because there's a ton on the PlayStation 3 that I'm just probably never going to play.
Yeah.
Unless I find like a $10 PS3.
So what does that mean for the Golden Years, Rich?
It means that I will join Bill on reviews. So when Bill completes a game, I will be that person he talks to and basically goes back and forth with. So in the spirit of the golden years, I will get up at the butt crack of dawn
Old
and
time's
record
sake.
those. Yeah, no, for old time's sake, hopefully.
But
To
Bill is going to
record
keep
those.
playing them, right? He's
Yeah,
still,
he's gonna keep
he's still
playing.
doing the list.
Yeah, he's doing the list because this is his fault. This is his fault that I had to do that. So I can't do
Womp
it.
womp.
I can't do those games. So
I totally feel you. Like I and Jay too. I think that was like one of the main reasons, other than time, that we didn't. I mean, we knew we wouldn't like all those games.
well,
So
and
I
a lot
put
of them are just
ourselves through
crazy.
that. Yeah.
So
So I think
yeah,
some people will be sad, but like the golden years aren't going away. It's still
no.
Bill is still here for better or for worse, and the list goes on.
Yep, and I'm still gonna play a couple of games and stuff too. So we haven't really dropped completely off of it. But besides that, I did play the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo.
Nice.
I beat it last night. Downloaded it, ate some dinner, came back, and just had a lot of emotions that we're going to discuss.
We'll get to that in just a bit.
Yep, that's it for me.
So no golden years, Grandia, and the 7 remake demo. That's it.
That's right.
I think I noticed you online earlier playing Grandia while I was doing my Ring Fit.
Yep, I was playing a little bit there too.
Well, all right. Well, then let's move on.
All right.
Sorry, I wasn't ready, obviously.
I thought you were.
I should have. Like I even gave myself like the old little buffer time there.
Are we gonna ding it? Ding it.
Yeah. So yeah, time to talk about the Patreon.
Patreon. We have a Patreon, everybody.
Patreon. So we have some benefits with those Patreon tiers, as most people with Patreons have, you know. So depending on the tier that you are, you'll get access to early episode access, ad-free episodes. You can participate in live video versions of the podcast. We are actually streaming on YouTube Live right now with the assistance of the wonderful Zoom. So if you have any interest in looking at our two ugly faces and one beautiful one, looking at you, Scott, then hit us up on those live videos. We will also have bonus podcasts, the Anime Corner, which has yet to record the first episode, but hopefully that will come soon. And then the Aftercast extra reviews could be other RPGs. It could be non-RPGs, just kind of whatever is thrown out that we're finishing on the side. And there's more. So check out the Patreon.
Yeah, so like I think I mentioned this last week, but Corey and I did record Luigi's Mansion 3 review. It is not up there yet just because I haven't had time to edit it. Reviews are a little trickier to edit than a normal episode, but hopefully that'll be either this week or soon after.
And like Jay did say, we did our first Aftercast, which is available now. You know, we dove deep into some controversies about the Final Fantasy VII cloud gay theory, the censorship for Persona 5, and Tifa's boob size.
I don't know if either of you guys listened to that, but I thought it was one of the better episodes we've done so far.
That was
really?
I was a little sad that it was behind a paywall, actually.
Well, we could always release that out later, like a couple months from now.
Timed exclusivity, be like,
yeah,
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes, that's where we learned it, people.
Gays and boobs. That's how you get people to listen.
And then actually we got a little special addendum to the Patreon section today. We've got one of the benefits is a monthly raffle. So what that is we basically have this random benefit. It can be like a magnet or like a gift card, or Corey and I will make a bead sprite for these people. But the first month of the show has ended, so it's time to go ahead and do that drawing. All right. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yep. Dun dun
Okay.
dun 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 dun.
All right. So our winner of our first monthly raffle is James, which I believe is in the Discord as RPGs and Death Metal. I hope I'm right about that. So yeah, congratulations, James. If you don't already have your address logged on the Patreon, please do so. And I will get with you and we'll let you sort of pick out what you want. And then we'll let everybody know what happened with that next episode.
Yeah, it's a picture of my foot. Just so you know, the left or the right, your choice.
I'll give him like a multiple choice with 3 options. It's like a picture of Rich's left foot, a picture of Rich's right foot, or a picture of both his feet.
That's right. Just throw it out there, people.
So yeah.
It's not that.
Anyway, you guys ready to move on to the news?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. Shit. I had it on the wrong volume.
Hear ye, gather round for all your news. Stop your clatter and listen close. Alas, you won't believe your ears. Listen close for the news.
Okay, so first up, and recently, there was a new mythical Pokemon revealed for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I've saw a picture of this thing, and this is one of the scariest Pokemon I've ever seen in my life. Its name is Zarude, I think is how you say it, or Zarude.
Maybe just Zarude.
It's like this black monkey with claws. It's like wrapped in vines, and it has like these piercing, like what was the villain's name in Samurai Jack? Like Aku.
Yeah,
It looks like
Aku!
that. But it is
It's like
nice to have
Aku and Mojo Jojo had a baby.
Yeah, kind of. That's actually a really good transformation there. I don't really know anything else about it other than I guess it is cool that it's cool to not have every Pokemon be, just like a cute critter, I guess.
Yeah,
Is there anything else interesting about this thing, Jay?
Not. It's pretty huge. It's like a 6 foot tall.
Jesus.
It's a grass dark type, which I
It's
think
an interesting typing.
Yeah, it'd be like Shiftry, which is Nuzleaf's C.Nuzleaf Shiftry evolution
Yeah.
path. Other than that, I don't think it's that special. Its ability sucks.
I think they also already announced a movie centering around it.
Yeah,
An anime movie, I mean.
yeah, they released a trailer about it. It looks pretty decent, but
Yeah,
it's basically around like a Tarzan girl and this monkey mythical. I think it's weird that this is a mythical Pokemon. Like the mythical Pokemon have historically not been so evil looking.
Yeah, that is interesting. And well, I guess there's also the fact that like if they didn't say it was a mythical Pokemon, like would people care? Would this make headlines?
Probably not.
Not as many anyway.
I think people are more interested in what Pokemon are coming out in that the DLC.
Yeah. Also, the Pokemon anime has already done at least one episode, even in the first season, centering around like a kid lost in the jungle that grew up in the wild. So, get new ideas, Pokemon anime people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, and like so the other mythical Pokemon are like Celebi, Mew, like Vincini, Jirachi. Like they're a couple like Darkrai and Arceus are kind of spooky, but other than that, nothing looks like a Mojo Jojo monster.
The other like kind of creepy looking mythical Pokemon, they look pretty cool. This one's like just straight up kind of scary.
Yeah, I'm not too interested in them.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. So in related Pokemon news, we have Pokemon of the Year 2020 results. So have you guys already looked at this?
I know who won. I didn't see if there were what the other categories were.
Nope.
Okay. So I am not going to go through every region. You can go out and find the top 10 from every region. How I will go over the top 10 of all regions. So coming in at number 10 is everybody's favorite ghosty Gengar.
That's a fair one. Doesn't surprise me.
He's an oldie and he just keeps on kicking. He's actually also one of the first Pokemon you see back in the 90s, whenever you picked up the game, because he's on the intro fighting a Nidorino.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And at number 9 is Gardevoir. Everybody's sexy psychic.
All the hentai people.
All the hentai people.
That's
body pillows.
Yep.
At number 8, Rayquaza, which is pretty crazy. He's a pretty awesome legendary, but I didn't know I didn't figure he'd be in top 10.
That's always been one of my favorite legendary Pokemon that I know of anyway.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. In at number 7 is the dragon ground type Garchomp.
Oh, okay. He is cool.
He is cool. Number
He looks like a
6.
shark, right? A shark dragon.
Yeah. Yep. He kind of looks like a hammerhead shark with legs. Number 6 is Sylveon. That's the fairy type Eevee evolution, which is interesting.
Interesting choice. I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
that popular. This is
I did
just
not
Japan
either.
only results, though, right?
I'm not totally 100% sure on who all voted.
Okay.
It was in collaboration with Google, I think.
Oh. I wonder if it's based on search results or something.
Potentially.
Weird. Anyway, continue.
So in at number 5 is Umbreon. So 2 evolutions right in a row, which I thought was pretty cool.
Now, Umbreon is cool.
Umbreon is very cool. I'm not too interested in using Umbreon as like a team member, but it's a cool
Yeah.
Pokemon.
That's the dark type, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
In at number 4 is everybody's favorite Charizard. Doesn't surprise me.
I'm surprised it wasn't higher.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it's not like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Charizard is like
based on how much he gets promoted.
Yeah, Charizard is like the de facto cool Pokemon. So in at number 3 was one that I was a little surprised at. It's Mimikyu.
Interesting.
What the hell is that?
It's a ghost type Pokemon that hides itself underneath like a fabric that looks like a Pikachu.
Oh,
It's super creepy. In the anime, it makes really creepy noises, and whenever it's been injured, its head just like tilts to the side. And it's just super creepy.
Look it up when you get a chance, Rich. It is pretty cool.
Sounds like it's horrifying.
It is. I think it eats children or something.
I'm pretty sure it says in the Pokédex that anybody who like looks at Mimikyu's real form is like scarred for life or something like that.
It's like me with Bill.
Right. I'm glad he never turns his camera on.
Yeah.
So in at number 2 is one of my favorites, Lucario.
No surprise there.
And then in at number 1 was Greninja.
Wow. I did not realize that Greninja was that popular.
Yeah, I didn't either. I don't like it.
I knew it was popular, but like number 1?
I didn't know it would still be this popular, especially since like the X and Y series ended a while ago.
Yeah, and on top of all that, like the freaking Pikachu wasn't even in the top 10.
Very true. Yeah.
That's weird.
That's crazy.
Well,
so yeah, Pokemon of the Year, Greninja. Good job, Greninja. He is a pretty cool Pokemon. He's probably one of my favorite water type. But yeah, that's it for that.
Cool. All right, so this one just came out of like the fucking blue, but Square Enix did like a pretty significant update to Final Fantasy III on Steam and iOS. So they gave it like a completely new interface with sort of better control options. They made it full screen. They added like a gallery mode where you can look at artwork and characters and all that. They added auto battle, which that's like a pretty huge improvement. And then a bunch of various other things, but like it's been quite a while since Final Fantasy III came out on those platforms. So it's like, I want to know how these people, like who at Square Enix was like, you know what, could be better. Final Fantasy III, put resources towards that.
I wonder if they were just like, man, we got like 5 people over here that just have nothing to do. Let's have them knock out some tech debt while we have a downtime.
I wish they would fix the freaking graphics on the mobile version of Final Fantasy VI. That would be nice. I don't know have you guys, what are you showing us there, Rich?
I'm showing the game.
Oh, were you playing
Final
it
Fantasy
earlier?
3? No, I've got it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
It looks pretty crisp. I mean, it's pretty good size. It's hard to see.
Yeah. I just bought it on PSP, so that means for Christmas, Corey got me that on PSP. So glad to know I'll now be playing the inferior version.
Nice. I pretty much have every single Final Fantasy for the iOS on my phone.
Nice.
I don't know why.
Have them all on the Switch and the Vita, probably, right?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I know.
Just
how
throwing your
pain
money
that-
at Square.
I mean, I can't help it.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if anybody who's interested in Final Fantasy III, that's probably the best way to play now.
Next up is probably a piece of news that is going to make everybody fall in love with CD Projekt Red. So they announced that Cyberpunk 2077 will allow. I'm sorry, I started off wrong. If you buy Cyberpunk 2077 on the Xbox One and then buy an Xbox Series X, you will be upgraded for free.
That's
So
crazy.
they are allowing free upgrades from an older generation to a newer generation for Cyberpunk 2077.
That's pretty badass and like kind of pretty ballsy too, because now people are going to be pressuring other developers to follow suit.
Well, I
No
think
joke.
Halo's doing it too, though.
Oh,
The
really?
Halo
Didn't know
game.
that.
That's what I heard.
You know, they better do this for this PlayStation release.
That would be awesome. You would think. I mean, so you have to assume that did they have to get permission from Microsoft to do this, or did they have a full autonomy to do whatever the hell they wanted?
I would imagine it's their game. They can do whatever they want. Like it, I imagine it would be like if you buy it for the Xbox and you get an Xbox Series X, then you have like a redeemable code or something.
However, that is like digital only, right? There's no way they could unless-
Probably.
Yeah,
unless
I
they
would
could upgrade
imagine.
it with a download or something. That would be weird. Yeah, I hope they do the PS4 to PS5, same conversion deal, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sony was just total dicks about it, wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh,
point.
well. But anyway, yeah, that it's really cool. I'm really happy with CD Projekt Red about that. So
All right. So the next one is Beholder's Gate 3 has been announced at PAX East. That's it. That's
has
all I
anybody
know.
played
No.
Baldur's Gate?
I've played some of
Oh.
the older ones. I'm looking
I think I
forward
have it.
to. I'll play it. I'll probably play it and get it, depending
What
on what
kind of
it's like
games are
whenever it comes
they?
out. So it kind of varies. I've played ones that are more dungeon crawlery. There are some that are like point and click. I think this one in particular is employing a Dungeons and Dragons gameplay. So you're like rolling a dice, D&D kind of ruling
Yeah,
in a very good looking fantasy RPG.
Yeah, they said it's like the dungeon crawl. You've got the ability to switch between turn-based mode to solve puzzles or sneak up on characters. Choose between 15 D&D races and sub-races with 8 classes, with more to be announced. Build on the new Divinity 4.0 engine with AAA production values, cinematic dialogues. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff that they're really bringing through for this one. The screenshots look pretty good. I'm curious what it's going to be on, though.
I've always heard the name, and I've just never really looked into like what actually is Baldur's Gate.
I've got 1 and 2 on the Switch. So
Of course
We're
you
gonna
do.
have to start like you're gonna have to start saying when you don't have something on the Switch.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I've got a bunch of games coming out here
start
soon.
like a Switch collector channel or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be fine.
Anyway, well, cool for Baldur's Gate fans.
Yep, I think Bill likes them.
Yeah. So Square Enix announced that they would not be releasing next-gen exclusives for some time, which is an interesting choice, but I guess that really just highlights how the Gen 4, the next gen and this gen aren't going to be that different, that they're going to be doing like cross-platform for a while. And the same thing sort of happened with PS3 and PS4, but I don't remember anyone ever like really calling it out like that.
Is that what they mean by when they do they mean that they're going to release the same game for multiple consoles for the foreseeable future, or are they saying, hey, we're not going to be releasing any games for a long time?
I assume it means that they're like for the 7 remake, there will be a PS4 version, of course, but when it comes out on, well, I think, sorry, I misspoke. On the PS5, they will probably come out with a PS5 version and a PS4 version for the time being. That's what I assume it means anyway.
Yeah.
which I mean that's normal procedure. But I guess maybe people were thinking Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 or other games they were working on might be PS5 exclusive.
Like
So
16?
it's yeah,
We
and I
need
wouldn't be
that.
surprised if we get that announced this year before the PS5 is launched, or get that announced. I mean, so
At least he's something.
yeah,
I
it's
want
about
to see
time.
something about 16 because I want something new.
Yeah,
How long has it been? 15's been out for what? How many years? 2, 3?
Since 2015.
Holy shit.
yeah.
Five,
It
five
doesn't
Okay,
feel
so
years.
it's due.
does it?
It's
like
due.
4.5 years.
Yeah, we need to have something at least hinted towards it. I mean, didn't they say they were actually working on it?
I don't think that they have outright said that they have, but there have been like some Final Fantasy teams, so we haven't heard from anything in a
Yeah.
while that we know are working on something. And
'Cause let's be
Square's been
honest,
putting out all kinds of like help wanted ads.
Yeah, and Square's about to get a big influx in cash.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just saying. So
I just don't think that they can coast on the 7 remake for 10, 15 years alone.
No.
People are going to get tired of the Final Fantasy brand before then.
I hope not.
Anyway,
So I believe that's it for the news. So what we have up next are our RPGs released this last week. So on February 28th, Romance of the Three Kingdoms. What is that?
14.
14
Jeez.
Western release on Windows and PS4. And then on March 3rd, Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Western release on the PS4.
Yay.
No idea what that is, but okay.
So what's coming up next, Rich?
So in the next 2 weeks, we have a couple of big doozies in there. For March 6th, which is in 3 days this time, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX for the Switch. In 310, is it Landgrassier?
I have no idea, but I say Land Greaser, but
Okay.
I could be totally wrong.
Landgreaser 1 and 2 for the Western. For us, let's see, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox. I have it pre-ordered. I don't know why. I just do.
Do you even know what Land Greaser is?
It's a strategy RPG. I know that.
Okay.
So sure. And March 12th is Bless Unleash for Xbox One. March 13th of Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Western for Windows. And then March 13th is Nua 2.
Neo 2, I think.
Nua 2.
Have
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Have you either of you heard anything about Neo?
No.
I've seen people talk about it, but I just don't pay attention.
I've heard people talk about it, but I've never played it.
Apparently, the first one was decent, at least.
Yeah, I got it free on PlayStation Network, like one of those PlayStation Plus games.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, don't know if you guys know, Shadow of Colossus is free starting today.
Yes, and isn't there like one other?
That's Sonic game.
Cool.
Who really cares?
Oh yeah, I was going to download that. I already have Shadow of the Colossus, but
Yeah. All
that's
right.
a good point. If you guys have not played Shadow of the Colossus, and then I highly recommend, and you have PlayStation Plus, highly recommend it. One of the best games of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's free.
So those Langrisser games look like cheap mobile games. I just Googled images.
I think they came out like on the Genesis. So
Yeah, they're an old game.
So it probably just looks old, like what an old game
Well,
was.
I don't know if it looks old. Like at least on what I'm looking at, like the graphics look fine. They just look like something you would see on like a $2 mobile phone app.
Great. I'm gonna pay $30 for it.
Sega was
I
way
mean,
ahead of the curve on that.
they could be super fun.
I don't know. We'll see. As long as I have no, buy this and then buy this other stuff to make you more powerful. Some microtransactions sprinkled all in there.
Well, alrighty, that's it for the news this week. So with all that out of the way, before we get to the main discussion, why don't we take a break?
Okay.
And we're back. So let's get on to the main discussion. The Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo.
Whoa!
Demo.
Okay, so Like I said at the beginning, we were planning on reviewing the Witcher series this week, and then all of a sudden, I woke up Monday morning to Twitter had literally imploded because overnight, without any preamble, Square Enix dropped the Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo.
I think it's kind of terrible of them to drop it like on a Monday. People are waking up on
Yeah.
a Monday morning and like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And then they got to go to work.
Or they called in. One of the two.
I saw a bunch of memes that was like along the lines of, "Oh, I suddenly have coronavirus."
Yeah, and then shuts down the whole entire city because of
Yeah.
that. Like, that's fine.
I have coronavirus for 2 hours.
I'll be fine.
Right. So the three of us talked about it, and we were like, "Man, it sucks that it came out," because we were planning on recording the night that came out about Witcher, obviously. And we were like, "Man, I wish we could talk about it while it was still like the hot thing that everybody's talking about." So for the sake of the show, we decided to all we postponed the recording for a night, and we decided to do our best to crank it out and beat the demo before we recorded. And that way we could talk about it and sort of get on the conversation ourselves.
Like Jay said, we did not twist each other's arm very hard to make this decision. It was pretty easy.
I really did. Like, my intention was, Corey and I sort of talked about it beforehand, and we were going to resist it, especially since the progress on the demo doesn't carry over to the main
It's stupid.
game. Yeah, it's a little annoying because it did take an hour-ish to beat. It's not a particularly long demo, but it's still like, now I have to replay that same part as soon as I start the game.
But you'll know what to do.
That's true.
You'll be able to skip right through those tutorials.
True. I wonder if you can turn the tutorials off. I don't remember an option for that, but there were a lot of options in the config menu.
Dude, there's a lot of tutorials and stuff. We got to talk about all that.
Yeah.
It's intense.
So what did you guys like, sort of general impressions? Think about it.
My general impressions are overall positive. For starters, it's incredibly good looking, like
Probably
fantastic.
the most beautiful video game I've played.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I am continuously impressed by how these games are getting better and better looking. And maybe like the actual quality of the graphics aren't improving, but the way this game is handling lighting on top of really great modeling is just superb. Because 15 looked really great, but this looks even better than that. And I thought 15 was like a peak.
Yeah. So Corey was telling me that he was debating on if he thought that the 7 remake looked better than Horizon Zero Dawn, because he says that's the prettiest game he's played.
Ooh.
And I was telling him
I
it's
thought
not
it did.
really. Yeah, I did too, but it's not really comparable because the demo or the 7 remake so far is linear. So all they have to do is render that area immediately around, and it is easier to make it a little prettier.
It totally is, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Rich?
Right off the bat, I did notice the music and the sounds of the whole entire game was very clean and crisp, and I really enjoyed, hearing those sounds and music of Final Fantasy VII, the original, to now being more modern.
Right.
It was really good. The emotions were pretty high on that. I felt that it pulled it all together. Just seeing Aerith, not really sure what she was looking at down the hall, but whatever. Yep. And having all of the stuff, the train go through and Cloud jumping off, and yeah.
I
I'm
found
really
a sound
excited for
bug,
this.
by the way.
Right? Of course you did.
Yeah.
What's that?
I don't know exactly why it happened, but I was in the middle of a fight and I used fire, and all the music stopped except for this really, really loud fire crackling noise. That's the
wow.
only thing I could hear for like 5 seconds, and then it stopped and everything went back to normal.
Oh, well, at least it fixed itself.
Yeah.
Bug report.
My initial impressions were, we had already seen the opening, so that was nothing new. But as soon as I had control of Cloud, I was just like, almost, it was so surreal. Like, I am playing this Final Fantasy VII Remake that we have been waiting for 5+ years, or however the hell long it's been. It was just like a weird feeling. Like, I was almost like, did I wake up in like some alternate universe or something?
Nope, you're just older.
Yeah, that's right. You're old. When you were playing that, you guys played Crisis Core, right?
Yep.
Did you guys get that feel, that train, when you first played Crisis Core? Remember when Zach shows up and he's on the train, just like he was?
It's almost like a weird, like, I don't even know what to call it, because the beginning of Crisis Core was meant to evoke feelings of the beginning of the
Yeah.
original FF7, because it takes place at the same train station and everything. And so, like, seeing it again and even better graphics is like, where am I?
Yeah. Because I thought that was great. Like that whole thing with Zach. Hopefully they do his character justice as well in this thing.
I do wonder if he will even be in like part one, because we know we're getting like more flashbacks and stuff, but I guess it wouldn't make sense because Cloud can't know who he is, or that ruins his whole story.
True.
I kind of have a feeling that we may see flashbacks that aren't quite explained.
Yeah.
They already hinted at a lot of him having random fits of
Right.
like flashbackiness.
So real quick, I remember seeing on Twitter some people were posting screenshots of what looked like Nibelheim, and then like a shot of like a little girl version of Tifa.
Yeah.
And then I remember after I finished the demo, I was like, where was that scene? I don't remember seeing that. Apparently, when Jesse asks him about his relationship with Tifa during that little like spasm moment he has, there's just like a blink and you'll miss it moment. It's like,
Dude,
geez.
I have a serious crush on Jesse.
Oh, Jesse was pretty cool.
Holy crap. Sorry.
They did well with her modeling and everything.
Yeah.
I have a crush on Biggs. So, did you guys realize prior to this that the voice actor for Wedge was Badger from Breaking Bad? That guy.
Nope.
I'm assuming you guys have seen Breaking Bad.
I think I've seen
I
a couple
have.
episodes.
I don't know that. I can't remember that character though.
Jesse's best friend. He's like tallish. Well, whatever. But anyway, as soon as I heard his voice, it's like, I know that voice. So yeah, I thought Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse looked great. I was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see more of Wedge and in particular Biggs, but the game really followed the original to a T as to like when they split off from the party and stayed behind, and the scenes they were in and their dialogue and all that.
I'm gonna be really devastated when Jesse dies.
Yeah, it's gonna be devastating when they all die.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they changed it up. I haven't decided. They haven't decided all that. We haven't figured it out. Real quick, did you guys notice the changes with the combat going from Punisher mode to Operator mode when you're in the middle of the combat?
It's a little hard not to notice.
It's really slow.
Tutorial, but yeah. Well, I guess that's a good place to just jump into gameplay in general. So this is, everybody's, except for maybe press people, their first time getting to really see how the game plays. We've seen, in-depth demonstrations of it at E3 conferences and stuff, but now we've got our hands on it. So what in general did you guys think about that?
Take it away, Jay.
I overall had a really good time. There were at times where I felt like it wasn't as smooth as it could be, or maybe I'm just not used to it. Like particularly when Cloud was blocking, like it felt a little like his blocking felt a little clunky. His overall attacking and general battles was quite fun. Really easy. You can kind of just hack your way through it. There wasn't much to really do. I did like the transitioning to Punisher mode and back, and how you can kind of strategize, at least with Cloud, between those two modes. I found Barrett to be a bit more clunky. I personally had trouble shooting the turrets whenever you first get control of Barrett.
Yeah, I did too, actually.
Yeah, it was like no matter where I went, he couldn't hit them. I had to like find like the one spot far enough away to where the angle was right. And I don't know.
I assume you did lock onto him.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because this sort of leads into one of the few issues I had with the demo. Is I thought the camera wasn't cooperating as much as I needed it to. Like during that first time you're asked to use Barrett to shoot the turrets, it's like the camera wouldn't even go high enough to where I could see the turrets.
Yeah.
And then in a lot of the close quarter rooms, it felt like as I was like rolling around and shit with Cloud, it's like the camera would get stuck in corners or like be not focused on where I needed it to be to do what I needed to do. There's a lot of camera settings in the menu that people have pointed out, and apparently that's like a shit ton of settings you can mess with the camera. But and I didn't try any of those, so it's probably fixable. But at the same time, it's like, why is the default like this? As far as the combat system itself, I really liked the ATB system, kind of, where like, you know, when you go to use an ability or magic, the whole it pauses and you select from the menu, and that way the gameplay feels a lot closer to the original FF7 than I would have expected. I mean, they already told us that's how it worked, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought using the using abilities and magic and stuff was very good. It was definitely better than Final Fantasy 15's system for it. I didn't feel as rushed playing this demo, going through using magic and abilities. I didn't feel like there was a crazy rush like there was with like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Like you have to like hurry up, press down fast, you know. So I like the slow motion.
Right.
I thought the magic was cool. Abilities were cool. Overall, thumbs up.
Yeah. What about you, Rich?
Okay, so I had a couple of issues with that operator mode change. So whenever you would be in the thick of it and you're fighting and you're doing all your sword play and stuff like that, I would occasionally swap between operator and punisher, and it felt like it took a good 2 or 3 seconds to do that. Like you got to stop in mid attack to do that.
Mhm.
I kind of wanted that transition to be smoother, but overall, I did like the feel of the combat in those two different modes. I could really feel the Final Fantasy 13 aspect of it a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys noticed that ATB stuff. That was definitely a big deal with 13.
I will say
But
having to
definitely more evolved.
use you needing an ATB gauge to use an item made it pretty challenging at points, because I know you said you didn't get this far, Jay, but the guard scorpion that you fight, I was afraid I was going to lose, because it's like you're trying to do a lot at once. Like you're need to use your abilities to stagger it. You might need to use your items to heal. Meanwhile, you are supposed to be using magic, and like there's this limit break, but meanwhile, and you need to guard. There's a lot going on. I feel like it is going to take me a little bit to get used to, as far as like all the different systems working together and becoming good at that. Like
Yeah,
I literally thought I might lose that boss fight.
I didn't lose.
Well, I didn't either, but it was close a couple times.
It was a little rough, but I had a good time with it, going back and forth, ducking, rolling, hitting, shooting, but swap between Barrett and Cloud. I could definitely tell in the harder settings, you're gonna have to be really quick on what you're doing and paying attention to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I was playing
Bouncing
on
back and
normal,
forth.
and
I
after
will
that,
not
I
be
don't.
playing on hard settings.
Yeah, I don't plan on going any harder than that, based on my experience with the demo. At least not the first time.
I'm curious how it's all going to play out. I mean, I think the boss fight was really good. Everything was, I guess, the transition between the fighting to the cutscene to the back to the fighting was very seamless.
Hmm.
So I think that's going to be a really good
I'm
mechanic in the
glad
game.
you brought that up. We sort of mentioned the music earlier, but when you go from in battle to out of battle, it doesn't, just start throw. It doesn't throw on the battle music. It throws on like a more intense, like up, high paced version of the background music at the time. So
Yeah.
like even when after you're past like the opening segment and you're in the Mako reactor and it's playing that, do 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 do, like
Yeah.
that classic Mako reactor theme, there was like a battle version of that theme. And I thought that was really cool.
I did see on Twitter, though, somebody showed a video of Barrett after they finished fighting. Barrett started singing the fanfare. Yeah.
I saw that on Twitter too, but I didn't actually catch that while I was playing.
Yeah, I didn't either,
Uh,
but I thought it was cool.
Another cool thing about the music, during cut scenes when the characters were talking, the music would like sort of dial up or reel back while they were talking, to sort of match the scene. And in that way, it almost felt like it was a fucking like film score.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. So overall, I think after the graphics, like the most impressive thing that I've been impressed the most by so far is the music, and the remixes are great too.
Yeah. Barrett kind of annoys me a little bit.
Okay, I was going to get there if you
Yeah,
didn't.
Yeah.
he kind of annoys
Same.
me. He's a little over to the top. Hope they reel it back a little bit. I mean, I get he's the leader of Avalanche and he's got to be this all important person, but man, calm the F down. You're on an
Yeah.
elevator. You have a cannon for an arm. We
Okay,
get it.
so the elevator scene where they're going down, and Barrett's going on his rant. He's just sort of like gyrating, and his animations are way over the top. It's almost like cartoonish, and
Yeah.
I know that he was sort of an over the top character in the original, but this is hyper realistic now, and when he's like thrashing around as he talks, it's like, come on. Cloud's line there, get help, was very warranted.
Yep.
That was probably
Barrett's-
the best line in the whole demo. I laughed out loud.
Yeah, it was good.
or his one-liners. Like, yeah, I'm gonna miss the original Cloud voice actor because I thought he did a really good job.
Hmm.
But this one did. I think this guy's gonna be good.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought all the voice acting was pretty much good except for a few scenes with Barrett.
Yeah.
But
I
I
do
thought
like
that even from
Cloud's-
the trailers that I wasn't like crazy about Barrett's voice.
Yeah, but the one-liners that Cloud had was pretty good. Like he was him and Jesse were walking with Barrett. He's like, I should ask for more money.
Yeah.
I'm not here for this. I'm not here for
Right.
you. It was good. You could definitely get the soldier, cocky attitude from him right off with this, and that voice actor did a really good job doing that and conveying it.
Right.
So this is kind of not related to the characters, but am I the only one annoyed that the word remake is actually in the title of the game?
I wouldn't be as annoyed if it was remake part 1. Just because I feel like it's very misleading to just title it FF7 Remake.
Yeah, I mean, well, just the fact that it says remake in the title, you could just leave it at Final Fantasy VII. The word remake kind of just seems so odd to have in a title. But I guess this is also coming from Square Enix.
At least we don't have to specify the 2020 Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Doom 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII 2020.
What I do really like about this, I don't know if anybody noticed it, but X is not used for every fucking thing.
Yeah, I guess some
That was
triangle
nice.
love.
Yeah, some triangle love. That was the one thing that bothered me about 15. And people joke about it all the time. You got, Noctis jumping up and down constantly just trying to pick something up.
Mhm.
Thank God they fixed that. I don't know why they decided that was a good idea.
I found it odd that to pull down a lever, you had to hold the triangle button for like 3 seconds. So he
It
just
looks like
sat
Cloud
there.
was confused about what to
Yeah,
do with it.
he just sat there for like 3 seconds while you're holding
Yeah.
it down, and then just pulls it down. I'm like, what are you doing?
He's
Just
collecting his
just
strength.
pull it down.
He's
I
got to
did
get the ump behind it.
I know that there's control settings. I didn't go through and see if it has like pre-settings or if you could do button mapping, which I hope there's button mapping because looking back, I didn't really like the default controls. Like to me, square does not feel natural as your basic attack. I feel like that should be like either X or R1 maybe.
Okay.
And then I found myself like trying to use the shoulder buttons to switch between Cloud and Barrett, and it's the D-pad, obviously. So I just was having a hard time. The default scheme seemed a little unnatural to me.
I'm sure you
There's
can
ways
mess
to
around
change
with
it.
that. Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Um,
The last thing I do have on this, it came out today from IGN, and I know Scott, did you see what I put out there regarding Red 13 is not going to be a playable character?
Oh yeah, very disappointed about that. I made a tweet about it.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out.
I'm not
Like-
shocked because I was honestly expecting them to not make him playable, but I was hoping that they would surprise me.
I don't know. I think they're messing with that. If they're messing with the character, in the original game, we had all those characters to play with and pick and choose, right?
Mhm.
Why are we messing with that now? Like, still give
I
that.
assume what they mean is he won't be playable in part 1, just
Maybe.
because you get him so close to the end of Midgar. But if he's not playable in part 2, then that's like fucking bullshit. And
Yeah.
hopefully that is not what they mean.
You know what's
Yeah,
really
with-
sad?
What's that?
No Yuffie.
Not yet.
Well, you never know. She could show up. What if they change that up to meeting Vincent and Yuffie early?
That would be
They
weird.
probably won't. I have a feeling they're gonna stick to the general outline.
We would already know about it if
So
they were probably.
I guess this might be a good way for us to transition into um, thoughts about what the game actually will be whenever it's fully released. Overall, I just have two concerns. My first concern being them properly explaining the story, and what makes me think about that is whenever Cloud is asked about how he knows Tifa, and he kind of has that weird flashback. It made me remember that the flashbacks you get with Cloud and Tifa aren't those fabricated, like they aren't real. Like Cloud and Tifa didn't really actually hang out that much growing up.
Um,
I think
more or
so.
less, yeah.
They knew
Yeah.
each other, but that was it.
Yeah, but Cloud remembers them being like close friends,
hmm
and it took me forever to realize that that was even a plot point. That Cloud was basically just some loser who couldn't do much, and then he went crazy and fabricated a bunch of memories and so took somebody else's memories.
Right. So yeah, they weren't really that close, but they were childhood friends, sort of. And then the whole thing is when Tifa finds him in Midgar, she realizes he's kind of fucked up, but is like too scared to tell him the truth.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
so they're already like sort of setting that up a little bit.
yeah, it's I'm just hoping that they thoroughly explain it, because I remember playing through the original and just being like, I'm not totally following what's going on here.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and then also we've got these new characters and new parts of the story that they're bringing to light. So, I don't know how they're going to integrate all that in there. They've also, a bunch of news articles have popped out regarding trademarks being out there. There's one trademark for Dirge Cerberus from Square Enix.
That's weird. I have no idea what they could be trying to do with that.
DLC content. A lot of people have speculated that they're bringing like some of these older, like the canon titles, like Advent Children, Crisis Core, and Dirge Cerberus together somehow.
So I'm pretty sure that Crisis Core and Dirge of Cerberus haven't been like re-released or even touched because of copyright issues with the music, I believe. So I'm wondering if that's
There's also the whole issue with Gact being the likeness of Genesis.
Yeah.
Who? What?
So Genesis's appearance was based on like a Japanese rock band singer or something named Gact. So, and Genesis was in Dirge and Crisis Core. So, although another article came out this week, I think Nomura confirmed that Genesis will not be in part 1. So
he's coming in possibly part 2?
Possibly. I mean, it wouldn't make sense for him to show up any earlier than that based on what we know of his story.
Oh, and I do like the in the main city, like the square, the Loveless poster looked a lot better. So, and everybody knows Loveless is a big part of Crisis Core. Well,
while we're talking about Crisis
Core
references, I did notice in the subway or whatever that there were some posters for Benora White, which was like the apple juice in Crisis Core.
Oh.
So there is some Easter eggs in there.
Huh.
I really hope that they make the story to where you can like play Crisis Core and then the Final Fantasy VII Remake and it not be totally whack.
I hope so too. Although the compilation already sort of stepped on a lot of the OG plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they could fix that with this new stuff.
Yeah.
So
I hope that's what they're trying to do anyway.
Yeah, because they realized they made all that stuff and they're like, well, we'll just see what happens, and then hopefully nobody notices it, and everybody noticed it. So
yeah.
And then you've got Advent Children. I'm curious how that pops into play. If they hint at the geostigma.
Geostigma.
It wouldn't make sense because that doesn't come in until after the ending.
Well, maybe
7.
Well, maybe they hint at it. Some research Hojo was working on.
I could see
don't know.
that. Some logs or something.
Something crazy.
What? How do you guys think the structure of the storytelling is going to go? So in the original game, after you get done with Midgar, it opens up like you're able Like you have the overworld map, you can kind of start. It's kind of like open world at that point.
That's the big question, isn't it?
I don't think we're going to get that with these games.
Probably not. I mean, that's way too big of a task for them to be working on. Is that big of an open world like we're used to? You're going to get kind of like 15. You're going to get big areas, but not the entire.
Well, 15
world.
was totally open world. I think we're going to get something more akin to 13.
Okay. I was thinking 15 was big. It was open world, but open world is an open area, not like what 7 is. You can travel around the whole entire world.
Yeah. So I think I don't think we're going to get the overworld map like we have with the original 7. I don't think we're going to get an open world like we did with 15. I think we are going to get kind of like a chapter based approach like we had with 13.
Well, I was going to say that your suspicions from last time we talked about it were correct, because right when you start or you get control, it says Chapter 1, Destruction of Mako Reactor 1 in the top.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think.
Damn it, Jay.
I think yeah. So I like that. I guess that's fine as long, but it just doesn't.
Depends on how they
right.
handle it.
Yeah,
like they can't make it to where you finish Chapter 1 and then or chapter whatever and then can't go back to locations and stuff from the previous chapters.
Yeah, it's going to be even more weird if you can replay chapters.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want it to feel like a mission select kind of thing at all. Hopefully it doesn't do that. It's just that would feel really weird.
The mission select is totally my biggest fear. I didn't think 13 was bad, but it was so different from 12 and everything else. I mean, if we could get it to, I would say probably 10 is the closest to being on rails that I'm like totally fine with.
Yeah. At least 10 still feels like sort of a connected world. Because I mean, you could always travel back to the beginning if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'm really fearful that we're going to get like chapters in this game and like missions within the chapters to where it's just a hallway. Like you're just going down the hallway, going down a dungeon, as opposed to like here's a city. You roam around the city.
I think it will be that bad just because we already know that there's like fetch quests.
Damn
so or whatever, however they're doing it, they're calling them merc quests or something like that.
Well, we're also sitting at 100+ gig, game right off the bat. So
Call of Duty was 100 gig game.
Damn it. Okay, fair enough.
Damn it,
okay,
you're right.
I'm just trying to think. Okay, I got nothing.
Yeah,
I'm just
so
you're making
we're
me
just gonna
scared.
have to wait. We're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
Like regardless, I think it's gonna be a fun game. I do think they're gonna do a better job telling the story, but I just don't know if it's gonna feel like a actual Final Fantasy.
I mean, they got a lot of pressure with this, though. I mean, if they don't do it the right way, I mean, make some changes. Obviously, this is a remake, retelling of the story, make changes. I understand, but if you go too far off the rails, like you say, Jay, you're gonna not make people happy.
So, real quick, Jay, since you haven't beaten the Scorpion, there is like one sort of majorish change to how the story was in the original game. So first of all, you guys remember the scene that it kind of shows President Shinra and Heidegger.
Oh my God. Yes. I forgot all about this.
Watching the thing. But after you beat the Scorpion, it shows them again. And after Cloud and them have already like hightailed it out of there and the bomb goes off, the bomb was kind of a dud. Like it barely does anything to the reactor. But President Shinra orders that like the reactor be destroyed anyway. So they can like blame Avalanche as like a public enemy. And so like all the mechs inside the reactor just go like haywire and destroy it from within and cause it to self-destruct basically.
That was awesome.
I actually like that change a lot because it sort of establishes President Shinra as more of like a villainous threat early in the game.
Well,
and it shows how like Avalanche is out of their depth.
Yeah, and you did hear that he was saying like, "Oh, sir, we're still looking for the group that had the attempt on your life."
Yeah,
'Cause
that was. I was
never
like,
came up.
what was that about? That wasn't in the original. Or at least they
Yeah.
didn't
So
talk
what
about it.
group? What group are we talking about here? So there's some changes. That was really exciting when I saw that the bomb went off. Just broke a few pipes. Ooh, woo, and then ba-boom, everything else started happening.
Yeah, it was a
So
cool scene, and I'm typically against changes because I love the original story so much, but I was like, actually, that's an improvement.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah, it does sound like an improvement. And I imagine they're gonna have a lot more story in this Midgar section simply because it's an entire game based on it.
Right. So in the original, President Shinra was kind of the villain for that entire Midgar section, or at least the main villain. But he's off so early. I guess they have to like establish him more as like the threat for this part for it to feel like a complete
Yep.
game, more of a complete game anyway. And I feel like we didn't talk about the boss fight very much. One, it was epic as fuck.
Yep.
But also, like I said, I found it hard. Like you're having
Yeah,
to
you
do
got
a
to use
lot
your
at
brain.
once.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you got your head for all this stuff.
I'm not used to that with Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, when we start getting more features in that, you get more characters with different abilities and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
You're going to see a lot different tactics that need to be deployed each time
Yeah.
you're doing all these things. I was not impressed with the limit break though. Just going to throw it out there.
Just how
Yeah.
flashy it was, or how much damage it did.
I don't know. When I executed it, it took it a minute to take off, and I was blocked by the camera of the Scorpion, so I didn't get to see too much of what it was doing. I hope they, if you initiate the limit break, it pops you out a little bit, so you could see what Cloud or whoever you did it with does it. So,
Well,
that's just my
actually,
opinion.
I got to see it once, but the first time I used it, I was having a hard time getting to use it anyway because I had to keep healing. Like I kept taking more damage than I couldn't
Yeah.
spend the ATB or whatever on the limit break because I was healing. But so I finally did get to use it, and right as the Cloud goes to do it on the Scorpion, it like did its move where it jumps off onto the wall.
Oh,
where
no.
you can't reach it. I was like, God damn it!
It's still cool though. I mean, I like it, but some tweaks need to be done on that. That boss fight though, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, I was super impressed with that. It was as epic as Final Fantasy has ever been.
Yep.
Except for
And the
maybe
music,
like the
listen,
really big set piece battles in 15.
I just can't wait to hear One Winged Angel.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's going to be sweet.
We'll get there in about 15 years.
Yep. All right. Well, Scott, I think we talked a lot about this.
Yeah, I'm really fucking excited. It's so far. I mean, I won't say it's perfect, but I wasn't expecting it to be.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be for the most part everything I wanted.
Yep. Agreed.
Oh.
I'm excited.
Real quick, I read the other day. Apparently, they're starting to let the press play later parts of the game.
No.
You know how they get to the second Mako reactor bombing mission?
Yeah.
Apparently, that part is like way more complex than the original was. Like apparently, the airbuster boss you fight there in the OG is like chasing you through the whole reactor as you go through it.
Awesome.
So that sounds awesome to me too. Make it a way more of a epic part of the game. All right. Well, anything else, gents, about it?
Nope.
Can't
I
wait.
guess I'm excited.
All right.
I took off work for it.
April 10th, here we come. Okay, so with all that out of the way, since it comes out on a Friday, I decided to not take off work. But since I'm off on Fridays anyway,
Lucky.
I think at least Square Enix is releasing that on a reasonable day.
Yep.
But yeah, so next week for episode 6, we will be covering the Witcher Netflix series review, unless something else crazy happens. We had like the doc done, and we were all ready to do it and everything. So
I watched recap videos. I read recaps on the episodes.
It'll all go right out of your brain again this time.
Yeah, I already forgot it all.
So we've already asked for it once, but if you have any thoughts or questions on the Witcher TV series, send them our way. We'll read them live on the show. And you could send those to our email address, which is rpgafteryears@gmail.com.
And as always, we are still kind of a newer podcast. Where what episode is this? Episode 5.
Yep.
So not a whole lot of episodes, not a whole lot of experience for some of us. Rich is the veteran here.
Which is
So
scary.
so if you have any kind of reviews or any feedback towards us, for us, no matter what that is, send that to the email that Scott just mentioned. Yeah, let us know where we can improve, or if there's anything in particular you think we should be doing or should not be doing.
Yeah. As for our plugs, everybody, we are on Discord. We have our link in the description of the channel itself, and either on iTunes or Android, or even on this video if you're live streaming with us. So definitely come out and see the conversation we have going on. We've got a couple new people in the chat just this week. You could talk to myself. Jay is supposed to be in there.
I'm in there. I'm totally
He's in there now.
He's in there.
He's a live participator.
Yeah, Scott, Corey's in there. You could talk to that guy. I love him. And Bill, if you really want to. Yeah,
well, we want people to join.
Yeah, sorry.
Yep. So with me asking for feedback earlier, email us the bad stuff. But if you like us and you want to give us a thumbs up, rate and review us on whatever platform you listen to this podcast, whether it's iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they have going on now. Give us a good review, help spread the word and get us up in the podcast rankings.
Right. And then one more shout out to our Patreon. Thanks, patrons, for all supporting us. If you are interested in supporting the show, you can go on there and get all those sweet benefits we mentioned earlier. Get early access to the episode, ad-free episodes, get access to the video version and participate live, Jay's Anime Corner, and then our bonus episode of the Aftercast. We have our first one out now, extra non-video game reviews, and more. And guys, real quick, I meant to mention this earlier, but the Materia lockdown has started.
Holy crap.
It started today, actually.
It's already been it's been a whole year since we did it last, right?
Yeah.
Close to it. I'm not sure when exactly we did it last year. I think
That's
it was
crazy.
around this time, though. So yeah, our second annual Materia lockdown is going now. We've already raised some money for the Motor Neuron Disease Association. We've got people doing their lockdowns. So for those that don't know, it's a Final Fantasy VII charity event. There's a Twitter bot that will assign you random materia. So it's sort of like you have jobs. Cloud can be your thief and Aerith is your white mage or whatever. So you can find out more information about that at materialockdown.com. All right.
Sweet.
Go ahead.
Well, you guys can find us on Twitter. That's where we're pretty much active on our social media. You can find the show where at, Scott?
RPG Years. And you can find me at the Scott Spot.
And me at HailBlue1569.
And then me at JAY Hizol.
And I guess if you really want to talk to Bill, he would appreciate you guys talking to him. You can find him at Metunica. That's METUNNICA.
Yep. So guys, thanks for listening. I hope everyone is as hyped as we are. We will see you all next week for our Witcher TV series review. I'm Scott.
I'm Rich.
And I'm Jay.
So we'll see you there for episode 6. Until then, there ain't no getting off of this hype train we're on.
Woo!
Bye.
Bye.
Squeaky, squeaky. Squeaky, squeaky.